Hello everyone. I Assistant Professor Sumaya Tambuli welcomes you to this channel. Today we are going to see second part of cascading style sheet. In the previous video I have already covered the introduction part and the syntax of cascading style sheets. Okay. Now today we are going to see types of selectors, right? CSS element selector, CSS ID selector, CSS class selector, CSS universal selector, CSS group selector. So these are the types of selectors which we will see in today's video. Right. CSS element selector. Right. So here you can see element is P. Right. Element is what? P. We are applying some style on this element P, right? So this is what CSS element selector, right? That is text align center and color is blue, right? This is the selector, that is element selector, and this is the property and this is the value for the property, right? Similarly, this is the property color and blue is the value for this color property. So what this is telling, wherever in my HTML document I am making use of this element, that is P. Example here I have taken P. Entire document wherever I am making use of this paragraph element, it is going to align the text in center and color of that text will be blue. That's why it is telling what? It is applicable on me, it is applicable on me, and it is applicable on me, right? So this is what the concept of CSS element selector. You can try this with heading elements. You can try this with any element of your HTML document, right? Next, class ID selector. Okay. Now here, class ID selector. So basically here we can define style rules based on the ID attribute of the element. Okay. This means what? All the elements having that ID will be formatted according to the defined rule. Right. So here you can see ID selector. Indication of ID selector is what? This hash sign. Okay. Indicator of ID selector is what? This hash. Okay. And we can give any name to this. We can give any user defined name. Right. Indication of the CSS ID selector is what? Hash. Right. And we can give any name to this ID. Right. Text align is center and color is blue. So here you can see the example. This is my paragraph or P element. Here the attribute ID I have taken. This is nothing but CSS ID selector, and the attribute, it is acting as the attribute in this element, right? P ID is equals to para 1, right? Here we are making use of this ID selector, right? That's why this paragraph will be affected. Wherever we are writing ID is equals to para 1, the paragraph will be affected. So here you can see this paragraph will not be affected since we are not using ID selector in this paragraph. Wherever we are taking ID selector, like ID is equals to para 1, those paragraph element will be affected. Is it okay to everyone? Next, CSS class selector. Okay, this is what? CSS class select. So here you can see the indication of class selector is what? Dot, right? This dot you can see, like you have seen in previous slide, the ID selector indication is hash. Similarly, class selector indication is what? Dot. Okay. So here it is telling us what? All the elements having the class will be formatted according to the defined rule. Right. So here you can see H1 class is equal to center. This heading is blue and centered align. Since we are using CSS class selector, right? Similarly, for the paragraph element, we are applying this class selector. That's why here we are saying class is equal to center. This paragraph is blue and centered align. Wherever we are making use of class is equal to center, then that element will be formatted according to the defined rule. Is it okay to everyone? Right? Here you can see everyone what I have taken over here. CSS class selector for specific element, right? For specific element. In the previous slide, what you have seen, CSS class selector, and whatever rule we are taking over here, it is applicable for any of the HTML document where we are using class as the attribute, right? Class is equal to center. Now next what we are seeing is class selector for specific element. If we are writing dot, right, it is indication of a class selector, but here it is telling what specifically it is telling that it is applicable for only paragraph tag. Okay, p dot center. Okay, center is the class selector name, right? P is the element, that is paragraph element. So here it is telling we are defining certain rule and it is applicable only for the paragraph element, right? So here you can see just below this, H1 is the heading tag or the heading element, right? And here P is the paragraph tag, right? So here if I take class is equal to center, then see what I have written here. This heading is not affected. This heading is not affected. Why it is not affected? Since it is specific element. Class selector for specific element, and that specific element is what here? Paragraph. So in the paragraph where I am making use class is equal to center, then this paragraph is blue and centered align. So this is affected, right, or formatted according to the defined rule. Okay. Next, CSS universal selector. Okay, universal selector, and it is indicated by star. Whatever rule, whatever style we are applying, it is applicable for every element of your web HTML document. Okay, every element of your HTML document, it is applicable. That's why it is said to be as universal selector, right? So this rule renders the content of every element in our document, right, in this style. Next, CSS group selector. You can see here, this is the heading tag, right, H1. We are applying certain rule on it, right? Again H2, we are applying certain style on it, right? And here P, we are applying certain style on it, right? But you can see H1, H2 and P, all three are having same style, right? All three elements have the same style. So instead of writing these separately, we are grouping the elements. So here you can see we have grouped the elements. Here H1, H2 and P, we have grouped the element and we have applied the style on it, right? We have applied the style on it. So these all are what? Type selectors. Okay. So you can practice it by yourself when we will see the example in the coming videos. Thank you for watching this video. And if you have liked my video concept, then do like and subscribe this channel. Thank you for watching the video.